Hey guys, I'm Amber and my co-host here is Kelly. Welcome to the Brown Girls Guide podcast. So because today is a very heavy topic, we are just going to jump straight into this.
Yes. Hi, guys. We didn't want to let September slip by without us actually talking about the fact that this month is Suicide Prevention Month. According to an article on the Daily Maverick, there are an estimated 23 suicides per day in South Africa. And for every one of those, there are at least 20 attempted suicides.
Those are such scary numbers. And it's also well known that men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women. And the situation is bleak, just to put it mildly. And the pandemic has only made the situation worse with so many people, finding themselves unemployed, losing loved ones to COVID. It's a terrible situation we're in right now.
It's so true. Our mental and emotional health has really gone through the most these past, it's almost 2 years now. And it's just been insane. And the same Daily Maverick article that I just mentioned also says that the South African Depression and Anxiety Group helplines, which is SADC helplines, now receive more than 1,400 calls per day, guys. But before the pandemic, it was around, I want to say only around 600, but that's still a lot, but it was around 600. And they are children who are, this is heartbreaking, but they are children who are as young as 6 who are committing suicide.
That age, I can't even believe it. Like, as a 6-year-old, how does suicide even cross your mind? I mean, it's just it's the saddest thing ever. And we also obviously know teens have always faced pleasure, but I mean, with social media these days, there's literally no switching off. And if you consider the steep rise in online bullying and feeling pleasure to showcase a certain image, it's obviously no surprise that the World Health Organization notes that suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds globally. And that is shocking.
That is so shocking. And it's actually just so sad, but it really is something that we need to talk about because at the end of the day, it actually can be prevented if we just look for the signs. There are some common signs that you can look out for, and there are a lot that should actually raise red flags. This includes like someone having long-lasting sadness or mood swings. It's known that depression is a major risk factor for suicide. And another flag is if the person like suddenly becomes like calm after being depressed or moody.
Yeah, definitely. And I also just want to mention, like last year, I lived in a different complex, and in a span of 2 months, like this was when we were in like level 5 and level 4, 2 of my neighbors committed suicide during the pandemic. And, we say look out for people who are withdrawing from others. And I think these things were prevalent in these situations. And, sometimes you don't want to be forward and ask, like, are you okay? You don't just want to assume someone is depressed. You don't want to like intrude, but sometimes you just have to be that best person, you know. You never know if you're just butting in for 1 second, just being person asking, that could make the world of a difference. And it could be someone close to you who chooses to be alone, avoids friends or social activities. I mean, if this has always been your personality, obviously that's different. But if you notice major changes in someone in your life, definitely speak up. And other symptoms or signs are people suddenly losing interest in things that they used to enjoy doing. And also, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you'll notice manic behavior, sudden reckless behavior. That's also a very key sign, showing that they don't think about consequences of their actions, like driving recklessly, if they're drinking excessively, if they weren't, a big drinker before, experimenting with, like substances that they wouldn't have done before.
They are really, there's just so many behaviors to look out for. And like you said, like just if you think that someone is going through a lot and that they are thinking of like ending their life, or just even if they look like they are just a little bit more sad than usual, just like be that person, like be that best person and be forward and just ask them, are you okay? Is there anything we can do? We'll share some resources in the show notes and on our social media channels. And while there's no root cause for suicide, there are some things that trigger depression and thoughts of suicide. And I think it's important to be there and just to keep an eye on any loved ones who have experienced any trauma recently.
Absolutely. And, there are these like traumatic events that can include, a recent loss of a loved one, a friend, losing your job or a pet even. And for younger people who are studying, failing an exam could be a potential trigger, because people do feel disappointed in themselves. You obviously set goals and ambitions and you feel that people share those goals with you. And when you don't make them, it can be very devastating. And, huge physical injury as well. Financial issues are a major concern, especially, I don't want to just make up a statistic, but I know a lot of men or breadwinners in homes, those are potential triggers as well. That could lead to suicidal thoughts.
100%. So just please keep an eye on your loved one, guys. And it's important to look out for these signs because suicide actually can be prevented in many cases. If your friends and family, if they feel supported and they just know that you are there, they might feel inclined to just confide in you and they might reach out. So just keep telling people that you are there for them. And as I say, just keep an eye out for any of these signs. But also access to resources is very important. And anyone who is contemplating suicide will need professional help. And there are many people and organizations who can assist.
Yes, there are definitely organizations who can assist. And these are very, very tough times. And I know we are sick of hearing they are unprecedented, but guys, they are unprecedented.
They are unprecedented.
There's absolutely no shame in needing help. And some key resources to have at hand include numbers for the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. They do amazing work and help so many people with mental health issues. And they are completely free. You can look them up online or give them a call on 0800 567 567. It's a toll-free number, so you won't pay. It's also quite easy to remember, but just save it in your phone in case and share it with anyone and everyone. And on social media, I love seeing people share these resources via grid posts. With different resources. Just if you come across one of them, share it to your story or share it with friends in a group, or as much as you can, just make sure you put that number out there when you see it.
Exactly. And like you say, like SADAC is amazing and they do awesome work. Even if you are a loved one who is concerned about someone else, you can even just give them a call. They have trained counselors who will talk you through it and they'll help you. And they even refer you on to other organizations or people and even support groups. And just in case you guys miss the number, it's 0800 or 0800 567 567. And their website is also a fantastic resource for any other types of support as well. They have numbers for everything, like from Lifeline to women abuse helplines to AIDS helpline.
Exactly. And there are a number of other hotlines and helplines too. We'll, of course, add all of this to the show notes, but also in shareable social media posts. And we ask that you spread the word, please, if you can. Those who are contemplating suicide often feel alone and lonely. And if they have the knowledge that, just one person is looking out for them, it might be enough for them to change their mind or even just to reach out and say that they need help.
Exactly. And there are people and organizations who are willing and wanting to help, and they are based all across South Africa. So as we keep saying, just spread the word. We'll actually leave it here for today. We'll wrap it up. And thank you guys for listening. We hope that this episode helps anyone who may be struggling at the moment. You can find the resources that we mentioned on our social media channels on Instagram and Facebook at Brown Girl Sky Pod and on Twitter at BGG Pod.
Absolutely. And if you want to get in touch, you can also email us on info@browngirlsguide.co.za. So thank you guys so much for listening. We know it was a heavy episode, but it's always necessary and we'll always keep sharing important information where we can. Thank you once again. And until next week, bye.